Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to SuperNova Astrology Update for December 11th through 18th, 2023. Well, we're coming up into the Sagittarius New Moon tomorrow. New moons are always a new start, but in this case, we're looking at the incredibly powerful place we're at the precipice of this shift of ages. Mercury is just about to turns retrograde on the 13th, the day after the Sagittarius New Moon. And this Mercury retrograde cycle has so many messages for us about what's going on. So we can see this new moon as the beginning of Mercury's in retrograde shadow already, but hasn't yet turned retrograde. And so a new moon and Mercury turning retrograde is telling us that the retrograde is a preparation for a new start. And so the next 6 weeks, incredibly crucial times that we're in. This Mercury retrograde is so powerful because it started with when Mercury went into retrograde shadow on the 26th of November. That happened at 22 degrees Sagittarius. Now, 22 degrees Sag is a very powerful 22 degrees. 22 is a master builder number. Sagittarius, it's about building the dream. Everything right now in the astrology is about how do we reclaim our ideal timeline? How do we take back our authority and sovereignty in order to move forward in our spiritual evolution? It's kind of a silly situation and yet incredibly frustrating that we've gotten ourselves into, realizing that we've got this battle with lower forces and energies, realizing that these energies are not as evolved as where we came from. And yet somehow we gave over our power to them. So it's a very intricate dance to take our power back because we've been programmed and our timeline has been reset, and just manipulations and delusions and lies, but mostly for supernova souls, the programming around whether or not the power is ours to have in the first place. Can we handle being autonomous as a spiritual being? Or do we need an outside authority to keep us safe? This is the major question, this threshold place that we're at, because it's time to leap over into the Aquarian age. Everything is saying this. And yet we've gotten the message that in order to move into the Aquarian age, we must have no more lower loyalties. Because it's like we are being bestowed and trusted within our own energy again. We cannot have loyalties to lower energies. While we make this leap, we'll just get pulled right back down. So this is part of the reason why supernova souls have been going through such an intense time of facing. It's like a big monster self from the past, right? Where you thought you dealt with this issue, this energy, and all of a sudden it's like this monster self standing right in the middle of the road. And yet this is helping us find any last nitty-gritty belief systems and programming that are keeping us from the life we know is possible and what we deserve. This is so huge because with Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus, we have to face where we don't feel worthy of Jupiter, our wealth, our expansion into wealth, and Uranus, our higher frequency vibrations, free energy, advanced technologies that have been stolen from us. So everything is saying that this is the place that we're at. Can we accept responsibility for our own power? So we're really feeling this today because we've got Venus in opposition to Jupiter, and Venus is in Scorpio. So Scorpio season is not over. This is part of the dynamic and quirky time that we're in, where there's kind of like an energy of a bloom of so we can tell that the forces of control are losing control. but they are not going to give up control. They're going to fight and throw a tantrum and cause as much chaos as they possibly can. And so we're having this kind of energy of harassment, a replay of the Piscean Age drama in our life, being like, are you done with this? You know? And it's kind of, but it's not like it's really pulling us back down. It's more like harassment. And it's important because what's happening is a play out of patterns. So it's almost like we're having pieces of the puzzle come together that we didn't know were connected. And these realizations are helping us to unravel these old stories. So it's really important what's happening right now. And everything is kind of written out in this Mercury retrograde, the way the timing is with the other astrology. And here we are at the end of 2023, getting there. So Venus is in Scorpio. We're not done with Scorpio season. We've got some disclosure of the deepest, darkest, hidden recesses of exactly what we're talking about, the control energies and their role in our life. And so we all seem to think and feel that we would rather not have these harassment energies. And yet, are we really ready to take full responsibility for who we are as advanced souls? So this is kind of what's going on with Venus. Venus is just last week had a square with Pluto before moving over into the sign of Scorpio. And so now in Scorpio, she's delving into the darkest dark. And she has to face all these issues we're talking about because she's across the way from her home sign in Taurus. And so Jupiter in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus, she's going to have to face off with both of these energies in the Scorpio mud. So it's where is the feminine being challenged and what is the challenge around owning her authority? We know she rules this place. It's our mother's world. And everything that we are in alignment with as advanced souls, we're coming to find as we distill out what really matters. It's exactly what she wants too. We're 100% in alignment with her dream. And so the feminine must come back into her power, into her abundance, into her glory. This is the only way forward. Everything that we want, the right, the good, the true, the justice, the love, the unconditional love, the nurturing. The only way we could get into this mess in the first place is because we were artificially disconnected from her, our mother, source, love. So when a culture feels connected to the mother, it's really impossible to control them. And we've been controlled as a species in this period of time through fear and trauma. So when you're connected and you feel the love of the mother, you feel held, you feel cared for in this world, then you don't have fear. And you know that there's nothing that can't be healed and that she's watching out for you and she loves you. Now, this is the ultimate thing we need to come to, that we cannot move forward until we come back to her. And this is everything that supernova souls have stood for through this whole evolution. If you really trace back and research the past lives of supernova souls, every single soul lifetime in whatever manifest way was about this absolute devotion to her, the goddess, to life, to live, seeing the feminine principle as the source of our physical manifest world, that the earth is a living, breathing goddess, a manifestation of the great mother. So we connect to the great mother and the divine feminine when we're connected to nature, and our body is also the mother too. So everything you've done in all of your lifetimes, I'll guarantee it, supernova soul, has been about coming back to her And now we have the grand task of bringing all souls back to her. And yet, how can we do this when we feel disconnected ourselves? And this is the deep, dark journey that we're on. It's almost like the closer you get to home, the more disconnected and separate you feel. And so it's an interesting phenomenon that doesn't totally make sense, or maybe it does, that the closer you get to source, the more empty you feel. It's almost like this emptying out to prepare for what's coming. And is this what Venus is speaking to us about right now? Emptying out all the stories, all the lies, all the distortions, so that the feminine can receive back her abundance, that the queen is crowned again. And she was captured, you know? But Jupiter is the new king, or the new royalty, the up and coming new regime, And so Venus opposite Jupiter is her reclaiming back her crown. And then she has an opposition with Uranus. So this is really powerful because Jupiter is going to be turning direct on the 31st of December. And we've got Chiron turning direct on the 27th of December. And then that leaves only Uranus retrograde, and Uranus turns direct on the 24th of January. So Jupiter turning direct means that he's heading into a conjunction with Uranus, and that happens in April of 2024. But it's like this turnaround moment at the end of the year is leading into this massive conjunction where we do receive back the wealth, our God-given right to our higher technology, available in our very own body. Will the world disclose it, or will we be disclosing it, standing up in the lamp, the light, the power that we are? So it's like we're pushing the envelope on this. It's like a race for disclosure. And those dark control forces want to control humanity through through disclosure. And of course, it's been just this constant battle to get any truth in this world. It's like lies upon lies upon lies. And that cannot stand with Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus coming together. We start feeling the influence of that at the end of March. And so, anyway, it's just kind of like this, just the bigger picture of this pattern that's playing out. So Venus is triggering these planets right now in this opposition. It's reminding us that these planets are heading towards each other and heading towards a massive, massive awakening of the true wealth that humanity has, true human souls, and especially advanced human souls. And there is confirmation after confirmation that there are more masters, advanced souls that don't need to go anywhere near a body or this crazy nightmare of a world we're living in. And yet they've chosen to walk back in, to be born, to incarnate later in life like supernova souls. These masters are landing home in our world right now. They are here. More masters incarnate than ever before. Why? Because we are going through this shift. Nothing can stop it. And with all of this powerful beings here on the planet, it's inevitable. We already won. In knowing our power, and that's what's available, we already win. But then we have to deal with all the stuff that comes up, the programming, all the way back to Atlantean time, the fear of our power, the fear of destruction, the fear of everything that's kept us from owning our own authority and feeling more comfortable with an external force being in control of our power to create. And this is the threshold we're at. So Venus in opposition to Jupiter, it's a face down. It's like what still is hidden in the dark that's keeping the queen from being crowned. We know that the mother is returning, or we're coming back to her. We're bringing all souls back to her. And we've also gotten the message that she's the dragon awakening, the kundalini of the earth. Very powerful that we're moving into in February. On February 10th, it's Chinese New Year, Year of the Dragon. So everything is saying the same thing, the same message. It's like all of the confusing things that's like going on all multiple levels are coming back to this one concept, the one that they did not want us to remember, who we really are as children of spiritual consciousness. We're getting our original mother and father. So Venus is finding her strength in the dark. And again, she feels so alone. And this is a lot of the things. It's really interesting in astrology. The planets can kind of be in their powerful placements and do their things, but it's not until they really that we really feel them until they interact with each other. And there's a lot of energy around collaboration and support coming into 2024. So good energy for supernova souls overcoming, because if we have still lingering darkness around the fear of our own power that we're facing off with this Venus opposition, then we are still lingering fear of coming together, because then our power, first of all, is acknowledged and validated and amplified. It's the next step. It's everything they've tried to keep us from doing. And it's really exciting because it's like they've run out of all of their things they can do. We're still on the edge of our seat waiting for like the culmination event. But it's just they're running out of resources and energy. We're taking our energy back. We're realizing that this is a parasitic world. And so as we take our energy back in our own body, we're taking our energy source away from those dark forces. And all they have left is a hissy fit. All they have left is harassment. So it might get kind of weird, but then at the same time, it's like, they have tried all of their mechanisms, to mess with us and keep us from this power within. But it's blooming inside. Can you feel it? Can you feel this magnetic pull? This is what's kind of coming forward in the morning meditations. These are available on the Supernova Soul Tribe Telegram chat with membership. Thank you so much for being a member. It means so much to me, supports this work, supports our movement, and it brings your offering, your energy to this beautiful movement of riding the mother dragon. But anyway, so the morning meditation, the energy's coming through is like this magnetic pull. And it's like we've all been feeling so empty and lost and alone, but it's being replaced by this. It's like a retractable cord pulling us back to center, back to feeling this feeling of alignment, feeling the power of all these powerful souls beginning to be able to feel each other. And it's like we're meeting together in the center. And then we have a line of energy from wherever we're at through the crystal grid, like where we're holding down the fort, holding down the energy in our specific location, and yet connected to everybody at the center. It's so beautiful. And it's also a message of that when you feel that this magnetic pull and you allow yourself to come into alignment, to get quiet, to listen to her, to get your weather report from her, that you're on your way. And it's a little bit hard when we're on the precipice of such great change and then Mercury retrograde, and it's kind of like, meh, 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 and yet the power of this Mercury retrograde is saying it's a massive time of preparation, which means, yes, we are making a huge leap. So you better get your ducks in a row. And yet, if you feel this pull, if you feel this alignment, then you're on your path. And it's like so much of the old stories that are coming up with this Venus oppositions have to do with what Venus and Scorpio, this feeling of regret and failure. And I could have done something different and I should have done more and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, no. You are right where you're at, right? Like right where you're supposed to be. And when you feel that alignment and you feel on your path and you take those moments throughout your day, this is so much more real than the reality I'm dealing with. This is so much more real. I feel this pull, I feel this alignment, I feel the other souls. And then you can feel confident that you are on that path and you can rest and prepare, because that's the message that's coming. So we've got tomorrow, the new moon in Sag. So this new moon happens at 20 degrees, 40 minutes of Sagittarius. Now, that's not too far out of square with Neptune at 24 degrees of Pisces. And so the moon will make that square tomorrow on the day of the new moon. So the new moon is when the sun and the moon are together. And so they make this conjunction. And then the moon will move on into that square with Neptune. The sun will not make the exact square with Neptune until the 16th. And so we've got this period of time, and we'll feel that through the 20th of December. So right up to the energy of the solstice, right? So we've got this kind of marker going on. We're moving into sun, moon, and then sun square Neptune, leading us right up to, and also that's also the energy of these Venus oppositions with her home sign in Taurus, like, do you get your own garden? Do you get your own wealth and abundance? Do you get to enjoy the fruit of your labors over many lifetimes of never giving up your quest, your path, your service, your love to this timeline, to this organic earth, beautiful evolution, which is her timeline? And so the new moon starts a chapter, and that chapter is Mercury retrograde. And the first part of it is these squares with with Neptune. Now, going back to this Mercury retrograde cycle, Mercury retrograde, when it went into shadow at 22 degrees Sagittarius, around building the dream, then came right after that into his first square with Neptune. So that was the beginning marker of the retrograde season, square with Neptune. Now we've got the sun and the moon squaring up with Neptune. And so it's saying this whole time is where we're facing, because we've gotten the message that Neptune and Pisces is about we've got to sort through the delusions of the Piscean Age. So it's the old stories of the past. It's also those old stories that are masking and hiding the magic and the miracles of the Piscean Age. And we've got to reclaim that back. This is the return of what's been stolen. And this is part of the energy that's come through around the astrology of the end of the 2023 and moving into 2024. The word is fulfillment. So it's pretty powerful that Venus is making these oppositions with her home sign of Taurus in the dark, cold, alone dungeon of Scorpio. And it's all about this reclaiming of the true wealth of who we are, our spiritual connection. And our only choice that we've been given in the constructs of our world is Father God, who's rather punishing, detached, and unavailable. And then we're taught that we need to worship this energy and to perform tasks in order to deserve that love, and from the beginning, you as a supernova soul, this is a lot of how you got into so much trouble is the past. In the past was because you were speaking and living the truth that God is within us. The temple is within. And if we're going to find our way back home, we don't do it through an angry, punishing God who's resentful and, retribution and all that. We do it through the mother, through unconditional love. And so this is part of the deal with where we're facing down. Can we move into the future without some more truth coming forward of the role of the feminine in the last age? The patriarchal structures must fall, but it's not so much about that. I mean, we are experiencing a glorious demolition of the structures of this world scary, isn't it? Because it's like, is there anything to catch us? And this is definitely the feeling. It's like, all right, here we are, just settle in and feeling that place on your path. But then that feeling like, what happens when the path falls away completely and you're at the edge of the abyss, you know? So what's going to catch us? Oh, thank God you're here, supernova souls. It's just holding on to that last little fragment of you never gave up this love, this unconditional love, this truth. And it's ironic because the rest of the world is going, the sky is falling. And supernova souls are like, yeah, falling right home where we're supposed to be. Feeling more and more spiritually secure, more and more present in the moment, more and more real and true with what's real and true. And so it's powerful because we are holding this deep and profound peace and harmony, going back to the only thing we've ever lived for, her dream. And she loves us for it. And she wants us to come and be with her through this. She's just requesting that we are present and paying attention with her. She wants us on, it's her ascension, and we get to go with. But she needs us with her, just being present. And it's so beautiful to be like, okay, so we're looking at dropping the stories of the Piscean age. So we're dropping all this stuff about, oh, we didn't save the world and da 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 da, and we just got persecuted at every turn, and coming out of all of that garbage and being like, just this is all we were here for in the beginning. And through this whole thing, and we can just come back to her and we can ride and we can weather the storm together from this heart space, bringing all souls back home. It's like she's asking us to get on the ark with her. And so we go. And so let's just talk through this Mercury retrograde because there's so many messages for us about this next 6 weeks. And because get this, we've got every single planet besides Uranus, actually, and Pluto, which then Mercury will interact with after the retrograde. But it's like every single planet is involved in this Mercury retrograde. So it says, places, please, come on, get it together. This is not your regular Mercury retrograde where it's just like, okay, shit's not really moving. We're just kind of hanging out. It's like, no, get your shit together. Now the main energy of this retrograde is because he goes into shadow, in Sag. He just moved into Capricorn, right? So he turns retrograde at 8 degrees Capricorn and then retrogrades back to 22 degrees Sag, 8 degrees on either side of this cusp of 0 degrees Capricorn. Now get this. So Mercury has made it to 8 degrees. Okay. So hanging out at 8 degrees until it turns retrograde in a couple of days. During this whole time, Mercury is in trine to Jupiter, and it's so powerful to have Venus opposite Jupiter, Mercury in trine to Jupiter, because when you have those dynamics, it's like a gateway is opening. It's like the tension transit of facing the dark in order to claim back the feminine light and abundance and truth, the queen crowned again. And then Mercury retrograde in trine to Jupiter. Get this, Mercury makes 3, typically in a retrograde cycle, there will be 3 of the transits, right? Because it's going over, going back, and then going over again. And so the first trine with Jupiter happened on the 8th of December, and then the second one happens on the 19th, which means that technically Mercury will be in trine to Jupiter this whole time. And it's very, very powerful, helpful energies because Mercury is saying this is about, it's like a magic wand, and it's like the stardust coming into our world and breaking free, breaking the Saturn's black box. And inside, underneath, and this black box of Saturn, the black cube, is all our treasures. It's the treasure box being kept hidden from us and secret from us. It's like, oh no, you guys don't have any power. You're just a little planet spinning around out there in space, you know. You're completely insignificant and disconnected. This is what they want us to feel, you know? And so, very powerful that Mercury trine Jupiter. And then we want to look at the third and final Mercury trine Jupiter, which happens on January 20th, right when Mercury comes out of retrograde shadow. Just before Mercury comes out of retrograde shadow. And that will be kind of a completion. That's just a few days before Uranus turns direct, our last planet to turn direct. This is why this Mercury retrograde is so important, because it's like, whoa, hold back the reins. We're about to make the leap into the abyss, but are you ready? Okay, so we know that that's a powerful energy for this retrograde, and we'll be feeling that right up to the solstice on the 21st. So very powerful day, the solstice. I hope you'll consider joining a soul group session. This is a group intuitive session looking at shared past life energies of supernova souls, whoever shows up to the group. Very powerful. It usually is like, whoa, we're all connected in this way. And then very interesting pictures can come forward to help us understand who we are, have clarity, clear contractual arrangements, get timeline resets, healing, support. So that will be on the day of the solstice on the 21st, Tuesday, December 21st. So I hope you'll consider joining us, or excuse me, it's a Thursday. So I hope you'll consider joining us for that. Very powerful energies right there at the solstice. Because get this, as well as making Mercury in this retrograde. So we talked about starting out with a square with Neptune, then trine with Jupiter, also 3 sextiles with Saturn, and also sextile with Venus. We're coming up to this sextile with Venus on the 12th as well. And so that's just so beautiful as far as talking about this. Venus just made this opposition with Uranus, and Mercury's in the long trine with, Venus opposite Jupiter, and then Mercury in a long trine with Jupiter, and Mercury and Venus then incoming in the sextile. So it does feel like the team can come together, and work together. And it's a very beautiful energy that she's not all alone anymore. So that sextile with Venus happens on the 12th at 8 degrees, right when Mercury's turning. So that's really cool. Started out with a square with Neptune, and then as he turns, sextile with Venus, but also still in trine to Jupiter. Really, really sweet energy, because Venus in Scorpio and Mercury in Capricorn. So a very powerful energy of working together. And so now Mercury then will retrograde back into Sagittarius on the 22nd, 23rd. And get this, come into a exact conjunction with the sun, just as the sun is moving into Capricorn on the solstice. So Sun Mercury at 0 degrees Capricorn when Mercury is retrograde, making 3 passes over 0 degrees Capricorn. So this is saying this is a new start for our personal autonomy and our authority. Capricorn is about coming into our authority, our permission to be who we are and have our own sovereignty. Sagittarius is the dream, it's the vision, it's the future, it's the wide horizons, it's the quest. And then Capricorn is like, can you handle it? Do you deserve it? Do you have the structures that can support it? And so this has been this whole Pluto and Capricorn. It's like this breakdown of these old structures. So the sun and Mercury at 0 degrees Capricorn on the solstice, so powerful, because the sun and Mercury together is like illumination. It's a brilliant mind. The sun is who are we? So if it were at 0 degrees Capricorn, that means we have the potential, and it's our time to come into our own authority, for humanity to evolve beyond the external control. Mercury is our mental perspective, our the way we see things. And so we're seeing the truth of who we are as autonomous sovereign beings. And this is our restart and our new start. Very, very powerful. Because also at this end degrees of Sagittarius, where Mercury's going over 3 times, we've got the galactic center. So not only is he interacting with Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, he's also conjuncting with the sun and the galactic center. So Mercury first went over the galactic center on the 29th of, uh, of November, and we'll go over the galactic center again right after going back, solstice, meeting up with the sun, going back into Sagittarius, and then guess what? Meets up with the galactic center retrograde on Christmas Day. So the galactic center is our destiny. It's our greater destiny. It's everything we're talking about with this magnetic pole. It's just like this knowing inside. And it's so important for supernova souls because everything in this world, the way we've been so isolated and controlled and quarantined from each other, they don't want us to know our greater destiny. They don't want us to know that we're anything besides a meat suit, Just a programmed MK Ultra meat suit is where they want us, controllable humanity. So they continue to feed on our source, our energy, which means we must have some energy. If they want to feed on us, we must have something they want to feed on. Isn't it time for us to take this all back for our paradigm? So it's really powerful. 3 passes over the galactic center, and also the sun then will go over. So just after Mercury goes over the galactic center, then Mercury will come into a conjunction with Mars at the end degrees of Sag. At 24 degrees Sag, because Mercury came up with Mars at the end of October at 12 degrees Scorpio. That was their first meetup in this cycle. Now it will be on the 28th, 27th, 28th, and they're exact square to Neptune. Mars, our warrior, and Mercury, our conceptual reality, complete rearranging of our perspective, because Sagittarius is a mutable sign. So this retrograde in Sag is saying we got to rearrange our perspective, our relationship to our destiny. So it's no mistake that there's all this energy activating the galactic center. Because the sun, Mercury, Mars, our warrior, ready to run, ready to bust through, and Mercury retrograde at Sagittarius and square to Neptune, facing down the warrior and our new mind, our new enlightened mind, facing down the lies and delusions of the past. So this next period of time, the Mercury retrograde definitely has energy of disclosure, right? It's like it's our destiny. If we're moving into our destiny, then we've got to uncover the lies that have kept us from our destiny. And so it's very powerful that after that conjunction with Mars and Mercury, and then Mercury continues to go back to 22 degrees before turning direct, guess what? On the 2nd of January. So everything is saying literally 2024 is a whole new reality. I do believe we may be entering a portal at that solstice moment through the new year where we are making that leap over the abyss. So we really want to be paying attention to these times. We talked about, so the 27th, 28th, or the 28th is when Mercury and Mars make that square with Neptune. So in between the solstice and Christmas, we've got that Sun and Mercury together, and a full moon, the full moon in Cancer. Everything we're talking about, the mother coming home, the fulfillment. This is it right here, right now. Can we receive it? And so the full moon in Cancer is on Tuesday, December 26th. And so that's really powerful because Mercury and the sun just made that very powerful conjunction at 0 degrees. And the full moon in Cancer, will be at so the sun will be in Capricorn at 4 degrees 58 minutes. That's almost, pretty much 5 degrees. And in trine to Saturn in Pisces. So this is it's saying exactly a rearrangement and an alignment to our divine original plan, which is her plan, our mother, dragon awakening. And so that Cancer full moon is very powerful the day after Christmas and the day after, or just after that conjunction with Mercury and the galactic center. Okay, so this is saying our greater human destiny says we must have fulfillment with the mother. It's pretty beautiful. And then Mercury, so then Mars will go, first the sun. So the sun on the solstice will be going over the galactic center. And then that's just a couple days before the solstice. And then Sun Mercury at 0 degrees crossing paths, ships in the night. We're close to each other, but we haven't quite been able to fully make the connections. So the Sun galactic center on the 20th, and then Sun Mercury on the 21st at 0 degrees. We've got, then Mars goes over the galactic center for New Year's on the 30th, 31st, and the 1st. The Mars going over the galactic center, full massive activation of our greater human destiny. And then Mercury's third pass over the galactic center will be on the 12th of January. So here, that just kind of gives a little bit of, like we said, Mercury turns direct on the 2nd. And then and Mars, so we've got Mars galactic center, and then Mercury turning direct. And so it does feel like, it's weird because we've had these over the last couple of years. It seems like these strange markers where you get to the end of the month and then all of a sudden it's a whole new energy. And this is for this year, 2024, completely different energy. And 2024 is an 8. If you add up the numbers in numerology, which is transformation. So again, pointing back to this Mercury retrograde, Mercury turns at 8 degrees, is at 8 degrees right now, Capricorn. So it's a complete transformation of our authority, which is required in order to make the leap into the new age and activate the mother's timeline again. We've been calling it the Christ consciousness timeline, but really, it's about Mother Dragon awakening in our hearts. And the feminine brings us back to the Christ this time, apparently, and actually is an embodiment, a full embodiment, an anchoring of Christ consciousness into our earth, into her body. And we get to witness it. And she's asking us to be a part of it with her, as so beautiful and so profound. So very powerful times right now, and really sweet. We had the opposition, Venus opposition with Jupiter is resolving tomorrow, or over the next couple of days. So we'll feel that up to this new moon. And then we've got the new moon in Sag. And then we kind of move into that Sun square Neptune kind of journey. Now, the other thing that's happening on Christmas Day, which is kind of speaks to this energy of fulfillment, is that we talked about the full moon on the 26th in Cancer, and then Venus is in trine to Neptune on Christmas Day. And this is where that energy of fulfillment is coming. Venus went through that deep, dark retrograde. She had to go into alone, dark, into the deepest, darkest caverns and face all by herself the most scary demons and monsters. And then now she's had transit after transit, like proving herself to the outside world. And so now she's facing off whether she can really handle and move into her abundance and her higher power with these oppositions with her home sign. She just wants to be nurtured, and here she is having to fight battle after battle because she hasn't had the support. There hasn't been the connection, the union, the trust with the masculine and the feminine and with each other. We've been so traumatized and disconnected. And now we come back home and you get to be a vital, crucial part of this. So thank you, Supernova Soul, for going through all you've gone through to stand at this time. And we're facing those delusions as we have this next week is about that coming up into this weekend. The sun in square to Neptune, facing those old stories, getting ready for a brilliant illumination and connection as we move into those solstice energies with the sun and Mercury conjunction, taking turns on the galactic center. Incredibly powerful because the sun hits the galactic center, then comes into that conjunction with Mercury, then Mercury goes back to the galactic center, then Mars hits the galactic center, and then Mercury will again. So it's just like bang, 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 and all these squares with Neptune. We've got to get out of the delusions of the Piscean Age. We've been lied to about everything, our whole history, our whole science, our, space is like, what is going on? Tell us the truth. We demand the truth. We demand the disclosure of the technology that's being used against us to control us. It's our technology, and you will give it back now. And we will clear and clean this world of all demonic evil shit. It's the only way we can go forward. So incredibly powerful times here and sweet energy. So we've got this square with Neptune, but then moving into next week, very sweet solstice energies with Sun Mercury. That's when we'll also have Venus opposite Uranus. So learning about receiving her power. And so very powerful energies as we just continue through this process. And so let's keep in touch. Let's stay connected and know that you are on the path. You're feeling this alignment. You're breathing. There's new energies available in the air, a new spectrum, a new frequency that we can actually breathe in our detox, breathe in the nutrients, breathe in the hydration that we need, breathe in oxygen that has been, it was a long-term agenda to try to cut us off. This whole dome thing, it's like to try to cut us off from our own life-giving oxygen, which means, if you think about all the mechanisms these control energies have gone through to keep us as prisoners, and we're finally breaking through the dome, it's like game over for you, right? You've tried all your stops and nothing's working. We're in that boomerang place where everything that happens to you is only pushing you into your power, into your ascension, into your presence, into your peace, into your true and full incarnation of that bigger, beautiful star self that you are. So stick with me. Let's stay together. Feel the energy of all souls, the enlightened master souls here, and the power of that as we breathe together with her and in this great awakening. So thanks so much, Supernova Souls, for all you've gone through. Thank you so much for your support. It means so much to me. And to be a part of that soul tribe, I also have a link to donate if you'd like to make an offering that way. And also coming to these events, the activation this week on Tuesday, solstice, Thursday, the 21st, soul group session, deep work looking at shared past life pictures. So thank you so much for being with me and being together, even though I know it's felt so alone. It will not stay this way. So prepare. Use this time to let the tide go out so you're making room for all that abundant love, the truth of who you are that's been denied, stolen, made fun of, chastised, kicked to the curb again and again and again, and you kept loving. So don't give up now. Hold on to that light and to that love in your heart. And if you do, and you stop and you feel that presence, you feel that magnetic pull, that means you're connected with a group of us, all of us, so many different soul groups on so many levels of enlightened beings. breathe with them, breathe with us, breathe with the mother. We're going to get through this and it's going to be glorious. And why not start celebrating now and be in the energy of what it is we're creating with her? So thank you so much, Supernova Souls. I love you so much. Have a beautiful and wonderful week. And I hope to see you at that new moon activation, the next update, the solstice. I'm also doing a gratitude retreat next weekend. So I'll put that in the information box below as well. If you're looking for some time with your true family to ground out and heal, express yourself, communicate, and connect, then that's for you. So thank you so much, Supernova Souls. I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.